everyone. Today I'm going to play a little challenge called hashtag Would You Rather Yarn Edition. Now this little challenge has been made up by Sam at Manfus Makes. I'll write that down in the description box. It was actually Litse from Coco's Crochet that was playing the challenge, and she invited us all to join in if we really would like to do so. So I say, why not? Let's see how many of you think the same way as me. I would love it if you would put it in the comments. If you think the same way or the opposite, you can either answer all the questions or just one or two. It'd just be great to see what you think as well. Let's start with question number 1. Would you rather have a lifetime supply of yarn or an extra pair of hands so you can crochet twice as many things? Well, oh my goodness. I bet you've heard me say before, I wish I had 8 arms. I wish I had more hands, more arms so I could get more things done. I'm always carrying a million things in my hands and gravity is not my friend and I drop things. So my answer to question number 1 is definitely an extra pair of hands. That would just make much lighter work of everything for me. How do you feel about that one? Question number 2 is, would you prefer to have a magic yarn that weaves in its own ends? Or would you like magic yarn that changes itself to the perfect colour shade for every stitch of your project? That one again is another really easy one for me. I would prefer to have magic yarn that weaves its own ends in. Wouldn't that just be glorious? Because I'm happy to change the colours of my yarn for each project, for each stitch of each project. But darning those yarn ends in, that would be so nice not to have to do. And it kind of works in with having more hands to get more done, doesn't it? Question number 3. Would you rather only be allowed to use super bulky 6-weight yarn or fingering/sock weight yarn for the rest of your life? Or only be allowed to use a 2.5mm or a 12mm crochet hook for the rest of your life? That's a kind of a hard one because you can double up the sock weight yarn to make it a little bit bigger. Super bulky 6-weight. See, only some projects would go with that. Or would you prefer 2.5mm or 12mm crochet hook? I don't like the idea of that either. So I think I'm going to go with the first answer. I would rather only be allowed to use super bulky 6-weight or a fingering weight yarn for the rest of my life. And I would just have to double over the smaller yarn to make a larger weight. Question number 4. This one says, would you rather make the same item repeatedly forever? That makes me ill. Or only have patterns with the wrong stitch count and fudge them forever? I would happily fudge patterns with the wrong stitch count. I have trouble as it is making the same thing twice. I just don't like it. I don't like watching the same TV show twice. You know how some people can watch movies over and over again and they really love it? Yeah, I can't. For some reason, is it just me? Surely it's not. I can't be alone. But I would rather not make the same item repeatedly forever. That would make me feel very unwell. So, patterns with the wrong stitch count it is. And we can fudge. Question number 5. How are you going, guys? Have some of these rung true to you? Question number 5 is, would you rather use black yarn for every project forever or only use bobble stitch for every project forever. Now, that's just not kind at all. That's just not kind. Oh. Look, I don't think I could manage bobble stitch for every pattern forever. I would quickly lose interest in my crochet. So I guess I'll have to choose black. I suppose you can use different stitches to keep it interesting, but either way, that's quite a cruel question, because either way, I would get really sick of both options. But I will choose the black yarn, just for the purpose of the exercise. Question number 6. Would you rather make a big, thick woolly blankets in summer, or super thin yarn is the only yarn you could use? Again, you could double or triple over the super thin yarn. Would you rather make big, thick woolly blankets in summer? You could have the air conditioning on, nice and cool while you're making your big, bulky, woolly blankets. Or super thin yarn is the only yarn you could use. Oh, look, maybe I'll go with super thin, because I can make that thicker if I add yarns together. I'm not sure about the big, bulky, woolly blankets in summer. These are really hard, actually. Some of them harder than others. And I guess that's what they're for, to make us think, to make us really think what we like. Question number 7. Would you rather have a perfect center pull every time, or have the perfect amount of yarn for every project every single time? Hands down, I would rather have the perfect amount of yarn. I don't care for center pulls whatsoever. I really don't mind if my yarn is rolling around all over the place. My little fur baby doesn't shed very much hair, so there's not a lot for it to gather. So that's a definite. I'd have the perfect amount of yarn for every project. Center pull, doesn't matter. Not least, question number 8. Would you rather have a stash that magically restocks? Sounds good to me. Or would you rather have the perfect yarn in your stash for every pattern you own? No, that doesn't worry me at all. I actually don't own that many patterns. I would be much happier with a stash that magically restocked every time it got a bit low, which is what I have done recently too. I have done a restock of what I call my staples. My staple colours are running out, so I have restocked, and I will do that yarn haul with you very soon. So question 8 is a no-brainer. I would much rather have a stash that magically restocks. What would you prefer? I'm really curious to know. So go ahead, pop your answers to the questions below so we can get to know each other that little bit more. So a big thank you to Litse for shouting out to everyone to see if we would like to join into this challenge. A thank you to Sam for creating it, for getting the brain ticking, making us think what we really like as crochet and yarn crafters. So if you would like to join in and do this too, feel absolutely free. I would love to see what you have to say. All right, everybody, I'm going to see you all again really soon. Hopefully the next video will be a yarn haul and you can see all my staple colours that I needed restocking. I always buy one other colour that I don't have and I don't use, just to challenge myself a little bit. So we'll see what that one will be this time. I bet you'll know. All right, take care, happy crocheting, and bye for now.